Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. Let's talk with Paul McGloin. He is the head man at Electric City Baseball and Softball Academy. Well, Paul, you have a great new location located above Battaglia Sporting Goods in downtown Scranton. And in addition to that, you really you talk baseball all the time. You do some stuff with the New York Yankees organization, and there's just a whole lot of great baseball going on in northeastern Pennsylvania right now.
Absolutely. It's funny, we were growing up as kids, you often hear just the stigma of other people saying that, it's warm weather climates have more of an advantage because they get to play more games, they have more opportunities, more accessibility to facilities, et cetera. And over the last 20 years, that's definitely changed in our area. And I think finally we're seeing the benefits of that with our young players.
Well, Paul, before we get into what you guys are doing there at Electric City, I mean, we're talking about a couple of guys at the University of Virginia playing some great baseball. We've got a guy we talked to recently here on our show, Ray Black, who's with the Augusta Green Jackets, throwing over 100 miles an hour. Matt Wotherspoon gets drafted by the New York Yankees organization. And we could go on and on. I mean, there's guys from Valley View that are going big time, and guys from the Scranton area. We know Jake McCarthy will be going down to the University of Virginia as well. There's other guys from northeastern Pennsylvania making impacts as well.
Yeah, I think it's honestly a credit to a combination of things. I don't think that it's just these athletes all of a sudden appeared out of our area. I think it's number one, we've always had good athlete tradition in this area, and they've been multi-sports athletes, and they've focused on different sports, and as later in their career, they've kind of grown accustomed to focusing on one sport. But I honestly think with the proliferation of technology, with social media and whatnot, and travel baseball, players have been able to get the exposure that they've long needed in our area. And then just lastly, I think people realize that there have been some players that have come out of here that had a great deal of success. Now we're on 2 first-round draft picks in the last 4 years, with Corey Spangenberg and now with Mike Pappy, who was taken in the compensation round. But I think now coaches and scouts are realizing that they can not only get baseball players out of northeastern Pennsylvania, but they can also get athletes so they can mold them to become better baseball players.
Yeah, and incredible stuff about Spangenberg, and as you mentioned, Pappy, just an incredible job he's done, and almost graduating. I talked to his dad the other day. He's just 9 credits from graduation in 3 years there at the University of Virginia. Let's move along, Paul, over to what you guys are doing at Electric City Baseball and Softball Academy. Tell us what's going on for the summer. I know you're going year round. Your clock's always going. You're always moving. I never talk to you when things are slow in your life, so to speak. So you can tell there's always some great baseball and softball going on.
Absolutely. You mentioned we changed our locations, and I'm sure a lot of people going back to, when I was a teenager, I remember going to the second floor of Battaglia Sporting Goods for Freddie's Grand Slam, and to where, Doc Doherty would have his facility, but Doc retired, and actually it was a much better situation, a bigger location, and we ripped everything out of there, completely remodeled the place, turfed it. We got close to 7,000 square feet, 6 batting tunnels, machines, whatever anybody needs. The majority of what we do there, though, John, to be honest with you, is private instruction, camps, and clinics. And for the summer, we have 3 events. We have we call a summer baseball mini camp. It's just 2 days. June 28th, 29th, to kind of get players from the ages of 6 to 13 years old kind of ready for the home stretch of summer baseball season. We have our 5th annual summer softball camp, which is held at Connell Park. That's July 14th to the 17th. And then for the 6th year in a row, we call our Summer Slam baseball camp from July 21st to the 24th. And for the 2nd year in a row, we've actually rented out PNC Field. So aside from the fact that we like to think we do a pretty good job instructing and teaching the game and incorporating that with a lot of fun, it's also an opportunity for kids in our area to get on that field and be able to play in the same field as our local minor league team.
Paul McGloin joining us here on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. And again, as Paul mentioned, he has a brand new location. It's a great facility, and it's everything's brand new, and as he said, he ripped everything out. Those guys have really done a fantastic job. Been there a couple of times. Electric City Baseball Softball Academy, located right there in downtown Scranton above Battaglia Sporting Goods. Paul, you mentioned these mini camps and different things for young kids to get in and involve. What are some of the things that the kids are are getting better at. You mentioned the ages 6 to 13. Obviously, kids want to be at their highest confidence, want to make sure they're doing all the right things. And some of those things I'm sure you're going over in that mini camp that you have coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's funny because you would expect a lot of times people to say, well, you have a baseball and softball academy, so you're biased toward what sport, and it's actually the opposite with us. I have coaches in everybody in our academy has college or pro experience, but I want to say every single one of our instructors, maybe with the exception of one, played 3 or 4 sports growing up. So what we try to tell the young players is play as many sports as you possibly can and be a kid and have fun. Until you get the opportunity to get into into high school, and then maybe towards your sophomore to junior year, you're going to start to realize what sports maybe you're a little stronger in than another, and then you're potentially forced to make a decision. We try to tell them that obviously the most important thing is your education. I know that's a cliche, but even when you're talking baseball specific, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but it's not a full scholarship sport. And, in comparison to something like football or basketball. So the better student you are, the better shot you have at getting financial aid money packaged together with your baseball scholarship. And in short, it ends up being cheaper for your parents to pay for you to go to school. So we talked to them about that. We talked to them about how they get into high school, knowing the rules, knowing what the rules of recruitment are amongst colleges, and knowing what you can do and what you cannot do, and what you should do in terms of getting yourself the most exposure you possibly can.
Well, I'm sure you come across every different story and every different scenario when you see a kid coming in, and whether it's a mom or a dad bringing their son or daughter in, hey, little Johnny wants to hit the ball a little bit better and really loves the game of baseball, and then you may get little Sally who comes in with her dad who just kind of picked up softball and seems like she really likes it, and she wants to take off with that as well.
Absolutely. I'll be honest with you. We at Jim, a lot of times with our summer camps, we'll bring in former professional players as guests, instructors, or lecturers. And one year, it's a true story, we had Jim Laverton. I'm sure you remember Jim Laverton from the New York Yankees. He has an academy in Southern California in a pretty affluent area. And he told me one day a mother walked in and handed him $5,000 cash and asked him, I want you to make my son a major leaguer. And the kid was 10 years old. And he handed the money back to her. And I said, and John, to be honest with you, we have special needs kids that come in for private lessons as well. And, it's all into what, it's not about what the parents want out of it. It's what the child should want out of it. If you could always set your goals high and, obviously dream to be a big leaguer, but there always needs to be a plan B. There always needs to be something that, when your athletic career is over, regardless of how old you are, you have something on which to fall back. And, we want to make sure that the kids get the most out of their talent, most out of their ability working with us, but we also, at the same time, are very practical, and we're going about this the right way for the level of the game. And, like you said, we have people from all over the spectrum that come in, we have kids we have a kid from Stroudsburg that comes in that just signed a scholarship at Vanderbilt, all the way down to 5- and 6-year-old kids that are just starting to play. So for our job is to basically just assess what we have coming in, find out what the child's weaknesses are, what he or she needs to work on, and then help them just become the best player they can be and help them play the game the right way.
And you get to see a guy who loves what he does, Paul McGloin. He eats, sleeps, and breathes baseball, and it's a passion to him. And again, he does it all right for the kids. And as you mentioned, you have a lot of coaches, a lot of instructors there that also do the same thing at the Baseball and Softball Academy for Electric City. Well, Paul, great to see that you have these super events coming up. The clinic in late June, a couple of things going on in July, one of them included at PNC Field. So it should be a fun summer for you, and we look forward to checking in with you again.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it very much.
Paul McGloin, Electric City Baseball and Softball Academy here on the John Mendola Show, driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.